whether it's going into the hospital,
do procedures,
help
with the clinics. I think most of us will be able to do that. I've done that. Going back to electrophysiology, so the reason why we're still a handful,
18,
it's because of the two issues I mentioned earlier: political, at the government level, social issues for most Black doctors that you need to go back, and also the fact that after standard 10, you're probably looking at about, almost 15 years? Let's be honest, like I said, doctors are not saints. Some of the public, fully employed doctors steal from the government. They steal time. So you can't stay here just because your mom is sick. If there are other people to take care of her, then go and do something that you like, something that will benefit you, your future, your community, your people. Don't get arrested by family issues.
Dr. V, we're back again.
We're back. Thanks, guys, for being a family of Rhythm Unplugged.
Yeah.
Sitting with Mawanda.
I think we have a very exciting topic to speak about today.
I wonder what it is.
I know that you've always been like, I don't think I want to speak about this. But I think for me, as a young person growing up in this country, I think it's a very inspirational topic. And I know you are a leader. You're a person who says, I want to do the work. I don't care what the accolades and what. But I think we need it. We need it now and again. So,
okay.
Yeah. What we speak about today is that we want to speak about the fact that you were the first person of color in South Africa to become an electrophysiologist.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so my journey actually to be an electrophysiologist started 2005.
Sure.
So I was working at Inkosi Albert Lutuli, and we had this guy, by chance he came to Durban to run Comrades Marathon. We used to call him AO, he's Polish, South African. Andre, which is Andrew, Okrikliki, and you can imagine it's very mouthful for someone who doesn't know Polish. So we used to call him AO. What a wonderful guy. So he's a guy who introduced me to electrophysiology. So my real first mentor, wonderful guy, he came and we did some cases for the first time. I was halfway through my training in cardiology, and I kind of knew about this thing of electrophysiology, that you can treat heart failure, you can treat patients who are at risk of sudden cardiac death, you can implant pacemakers, you can do all those kind of things. But what I didn't realize at the time was that it was a big section of cardiology. But not only that, most of the time as doctors, we manage conditions.
Right.
But in electrophysiology, there are certain conditions where we can tell someone you are cured with more than 95% certainty.
Sure.
And it also involved very young individuals and very old individuals, very senior. So it was nice that I could get into a space where I can say to someone, you are cured, right? Sure. So he came to Durban, and I think he kind of liked me. Then he said, hey, come and join me at UCT Grooteskier. And his boss at the time was one of the greatest cardiologists to ever walk this earth. His name was Bongani Mayos. He's late. Sadly, AO is also late. Those are my two mentors. They both died in their early 50s. So Bongani was AO's boss, and AO was going to be my boss. So that's how it all started. So within a couple of months, I went to Cape Town and spent almost 3 years there. Got introduced to electrophysiology. And what I liked about it was the fact that I can say to someone, look, you're cured, or I can treat you with some degree of certainty that you're going to be a lot better. That was number one. Number two was the fact that as a parent, it gave me leverage to do my work during the day without being called at night and not to do calls. And lastly, which is not that important, which is what you want to talk about, at the time, there were no Black electrophysiologists. So consequently, then I became the first Black electrophysiologist in South Africa. So which is nice, but that's not the most important thing to me. But what is important as I get older is to know that if you can be an example to younger people and knowing where you come from, and they say, if Brian can do it, I can do it. And since then, I think now there's like 3 more black electrophysiologists
Sure.
after I qualified. I don't know if they looked up to me or not. Doesn't matter. What matters now is that we have a few black electrophysiologists. But the bigger picture for me is always serving people, whether you're black, white, Indian, or mixed. It really doesn't matter
It really
that much.
doesn't matter, yeah.
But for my community, for people who look like me, I think it's important that it can be done, because sometimes you get beat up and people tell you cannot do it.
Yeah, you've said a lot there. So I will backtrack you because you've said so many important things to this journey. I think the first question then for me is that when you got introduced to the field, how many electrophysiologists were in South Africa at the time?
I think we're a handful, maybe 10 or under 10 at the time.
10 or under 10?
Yeah. We're still probably like 18 at the moment. That's almost 20 years later.
Yeah, that's so interesting. 18, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Is it the barrier of entry, or like what you mentioned, I think in our previous episode, Uguti, the costs or the time frame that is involved in becoming an electrophysiologist is actually quite a number of years?
Yeah. It's a bit difficult to separate socioeconomic issues, politics, and profession. Unfortunately, most doctors of color, doesn't mean that other races don't have the similar challenges, is that you're a breadwinner, or you're going to be a potential breadwinner. You have to go back home, and the best you can do at the time is to go to private practice as soon as you can to provide for your family, black tax. And therefore, there's that pressure. To politically, unfortunately, in public sector, it's not good. It hasn't been good for black people for decades, but it's just getting worse in public sector. We don't have nurses, we don't have doctors. So training has become a problem. Sure. So even for those who want to train, 20 years later, really, we don't have an institution in South Africa that can pride itself that we've got many doctors within the field who can train electrophysiologists. Krugerskir is one whereby it's only one person who's supposed to do all of this, a good friend of mine, Ashley Chin. So he's the one who's holding the fort in the public sector and training electrophysiologists. So there's a bottleneck.
Yeah.
So there's social issues, there's financial issues, there's like politics, where the government appears to have this issue of not making sure that our health works and works good to train people. They've got other bigger things, I always say. Nutrition, roof of our heads, those are important things. But some subspecialties need to be taken care of as well.
Yeah. I have to do a poke at this because I don't know if I'll get another opportunity. But if you were to speak in front of government or parliament about health, what would be your biggest motivation just towards them so that we move the needle forward?
Oh, yeah, so that's the easy part. It's whether people will listen to you. I mean, I think security, health, food, and housing, those are the basic things that any government should provide. Those things are intertwined.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be standing there to convince a government official that you need to make sure that we've got clinics, women get antenatal clinic, make sure that their pregnancies are relatively safe, kids are born in a safer environment. You need doctors, you need nurses, you need midwives. It should be obvious that you should be doing this. And if they're not doing this, they should be telling us why we're not doing this. I mean, we're hearing all these horrible, horrible stories. Big up to some of the politicians who've come forward. I'm going to mention the name, really doesn't care. Mkhwana's showing us that a lot of things are happening. Hospitals are getting looted. Right now, a couple of days, my greatest hospital, Inkosi Albert Lutfuli, apparently is getting looted as well. And the government is not doing anything about it, right? So the government has to stand in front of the constituency and say, like, why aren't we training enough doctors? Why aren't we training enough nurses? Why are these people leaving South Africa? Brain drain. Because the government does invest in us. So when I go to university or college, the government pays something towards my tuition, whether I'm privately funded or my mom, my dad is paying for my tuition. The government contributes. So they are letting go of the money that they invested in
Themselves.
because they're not keeping the environment conducive for most doctors and nurses to stay. Look, people will always want to immigrate and others will want to come in. That's fine. But we need to reach an equilibrium. We can't have a negative exodus of people, right? So I can say and stand here for the longest time trying to convince the government, but government doesn't need convincing. So the issue of super specialists is the bottleneck. There are not enough senior doctors to train junior doctors. Also, there's no collaboration between the public hospitals, which is where you need these doctors to be trained at, to be helped or assisted by private guys like me and many of my colleagues who are willing to say, look, let's have this public-private partnership where all the government has to do is, Brian, can you come and give me 2 hours for free? I think most doctors would be happy to do that, just to help relieve the pressure from the government.
But I guess it's an accountability thing, because you'd be happy to do it, but you'd be more happy to do it if there's a working system and there's an accountability and you can see the fruits of the contribution that everybody's bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Because that's encouraging. Sometimes
Funny you should say that, because I used to do this, but when I went to Albert Lithili to give my day, I used to go there on the Tuesday, whole day. The issue was that there was no accountability on their behalf. In a sense that, okay, I'm here, what do you want me to do? That literally, at some point, they didn't know what they expect me to do. Yet there was a shitload of work that needed to be done.
That's hectic.
So that's hectic. But also, the other issue, I don't want to go to a public hospital when the doctors who are supposed to be fully employed by the government are doing private work during government time. Okay, let's be honest with this. Doctors also steal from the government, steal time. They're supposed to be fully employed by the state, and state pays them relatively well, but they're busy doing private work during government work, right? So it's a multi-layered onion. That is a problem. But obviously at the forefront of this is government.
Yeah, everything
We need to make a ruling.
Leadership.
Yes.
So if the leadership, that's why I say if you hit the head, everybody scatters.
Yes.
So if you can get the head right, then everybody else falls in line and it becomes the norm. Obviously, it takes a period of time. It's not as easy as we are saying it. But I do believe that, I think from an external point of view, if they consult, I think the right specialists in the country, they bring the right heads together, once every 3 months or so, guys to say, all right, you are in the field, you're a specialist. What can we do as government to move this thing forward? And obviously have the right person to head this and lead this. I think, like you're saying, most people will be like, hey, I don't mind giving 2 hours.
For free.
Whether it's mentorship, whether it's going into the hospital.
Do procedures.
Help
with the clinics. I think most of us will be able to do that. I've done that. But I need to go to an environment where I see that they need me. They are prepared for me to be here, which means that if they want me to do the clinic, there must be a nurse to help me. There must be a student working with me, because it's all about making sure there's this transfer of skill as well, not just service work. But hopefully one day the government will get it. If I were to stand in front of them now, I'll tell you, look, most doctors will be willing to, who are in private practice, will be willing to work for free for a couple of hours, because we still want to see the system work. Most of us still want to see everyone getting affordable healthcare, national health system of some sort. We like that. It's how it's going to be done, but we want it to work. So yeah, save the government to do that.
So
but anyway, so there's a bottleneck. Going back to electrophysiology, so the reason why we're still a handful,
18,
it's because of the two issues I mentioned earlier: political, at the government level, social issues for most Black doctors that you need to go back, and also the fact that after standard 10, you're probably looking at about, almost 15 years that you have to do your internal medicine, community service, internal medicine,
can
cardiology.
It be shorter, actually? Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, it can be shorter.
Do you have to go through those years?
Well, you have to go through those years. I'll give you an example. So after 2 to 3 years at Grooteskier, which is best foundation for electrophysiology for me, then I got an opportunity once again through Bongani Mayos. You must Google this guy, Bongani Mayos, the greatest cardiologist ever walked this earth for me.
Sure.
So he helped me together with a good friend of mine, Bavi Makenji, to go to Canada to train as electrophysiologist. If it wasn't for Bongani, I wouldn't have gone there. Anyway, so when I was there, one of my mentors was a Hungarian lady. And the reason why I'm telling this story, because you asked me the question, can it be shorter? So in East Europe, they tend to cut internal medicine or some form of training between final year and becoming electrophysiologist. The problem with that system, or not the problem, the issue is that if you then go to another country that doesn't recognize you as a cardiologist by virtue that there's a gap in your training, you didn't become a specialist physician before you became a cardiologist, then you're not recognized. And at the end of her training, she didn't want to go back to Hungary. But it meant that she needed to retrain as for a junior degree to what she already was, because Canadian system didn't recognize, or Commonwealth didn't recognize the fact that she can be a cardiologist without being a specialist physician. So she didn't want to go back home to Hungary. She ended up basically working for insurance, analyzing urine, blood samples, So yes, it can be short, but you have to be careful where you want to end it.
Okay, yeah, then I guess that is tricky. So when you got introduced to the field, how aware were you that there's not many people like you who were doing this?
Oh, well, it was very obvious that there were very few people. So I had to think long and hard, do I want to get into this field? Because when people don't do something, you got to ask yourself, why aren't they doing it? And it became apparent to me at the time that I think the major issues were mainly personal, government. And fortunately, I had Bongani Mayos who represented the government and represented the government very, very well. And I was willing to take a quantum leap and move my family to go to Canada. But also, let's be honest, like I said, doctors are not saints. Some of the public, fully employed doctors steal from the government. They steal time. Some of the doctors want to be electrophysiologist or super specialist in whatever field you are, but they don't want to go and train in recognized places and sacrifice the time. They keep saying, I want to do this. Dude, you want to do this, you commit. Unfortunately, there's no training in Africa or South Africa. We have to go overseas, So you've got to decide for yourself what works well for you and what you want.
Sure.
But you've got to sacrifice. You've got to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You sacrifice your earning power. You sacrifice being away from a family. But is it worth it for you to do that? And no one else should convince you. If it's worth it, then do it.
Sure.
But don't moan and complain, I want to do this, but I don't want to leave my family, or my parents are sick. Look, it sounds very cold and callous. We all age. We all have to make a decision that, you know what, I want to do this. Yes, my parents aren't well, but I'll make it work. If they pass and I'm away, that's a decision I've chosen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. These things, we're all going to die, right?
Wow, but it's just challenging things that you have to come to terms with when you're saying it like that, It's honest truth. We all are.
Yeah.
From the day you're born.
So you can't stay here just because your mom is sick. If there are other people to take care of her, then go and do something that you like, something that will benefit you, your future, your community, your people. Don't get arrested by family issues. And actually, you'll find that your mom and dad will say, go away, make yourself better. But you've got this emotional change. No, I can't do this. My parents are infirm. My parents are sick. My parents need me. What about your kids?
Sure.
They would need you more than your parents need you.
And I think also the idea of...
And also, sorry,
yes.
Most of us don't even talk to our parents. We just assume our parents don't want us to do this. You'll be surprised when you talk to your parents how protective they are of you and your future, they will let you go. You probably won't even have to explain yourself why you're doing this. They've raised you and they've raised you well. They know that most of the time you're going to make the right decisions.
That's true. I think that's very true. I think we mostly assume what they will think, because I know I've done this a lot. Only to find that when you've built up the courage and you want to have the conversation, Umzali is like,
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But I think also because maybe in our culture, in our history, there's a lot of responsibility that we tend to take on, even emotional responsibility of our parents. And, how are they going to be? How are they? But also, I guess the other catch-22 is that you doing what you have to do is also a form of taking care of them, because you open up the opportunity and the space to be able to look after them in other ways.
Yeah. So, for instance, both my parents now have stroke and they need someone to help. I don't think if I didn't choose this profession, I'd be able to help them.
Sure.
I and my brothers and sisters are able to help our parents, but I contribute a lot to that. So it's a kind of black tax, but it's working well for them, right? But most parents, particularly my parents, I'm obviously very fortunate to have parents like mine. They don't expect anything from us, not at all. They know that their role was to raise us, period. And I tell my daughter this, I don't want you to miss a big interview for you to make shitloads of money just because I had a stroke. On the day you hear that I had a stroke or I died, and you have a very important day in your life that's going to define your future, you go and have that interview with the people you want to talk to secure your future. This is what I want from you. I don't want you to sit by me, see me die while losing the opportunity to become the greatest thing you can be just because I'm sick. I don't want that. I tell my daughter this over and over again. Let me walk you back a little bit. So after 94, things that most Black people got it wrong was that we were starting to make a little bit of money. There was a bit of leverage that you could move to previously white-only places. The first thing we did without talking to our parents, we yanked them out of the township. We put them at Yellowwood Park, Mhlanga, wherever it is, because we're giving them better life. But we didn't realize that, for instance, my mom doesn't drive now, and she doesn't have neighborhood kids that she can send to the shop to buy a loaf of bread. I'm taking away from her friends. I'm taking away from her church, right? And they became depressed. Sure. But we thought we're doing them great. I'm not talking as an individual now. I'm talking collectively as Black people. We thought that was good, right? But it turned out that most parents didn't like that. They wanted to stay in their community. So maybe the best we could have done is to build a bigger house, make them safer in their own environment. For instance, now I keep going back to my parents. They're both incapacitated by stroke. And we spoke to them about bringing them back to where we live, most of us as siblings. They said, no, we're happy where we are, but if you can maybe help us with someone with some medical experience just to help us. But we want to stay here, not where you think we want to stay at.
Which I'm sure when you guys are meeting, you were like,
it makes more sense. Yes. Yeah, we're going to get them into some nice retirement village, which is 20 minutes away from us. But have you consulted them? Have you consulted your parents that, you know what, I really want to super specialize. I know it's going to be another 5 years. I'm not going to be earning money. And you'll be surprised your parents say, my son, my daughter, fly. Do what you think is good for you.
Sure.
We've had good life. It's your turn now. But we tend to think for them.
Yeah.
And we get it wrong.
Well, these
so
conversations that you had to have when you decided to embark on this journey with your parents.
I can be cold as a human being. I'm very selfish. So no, I did not. I knew what was right for me, and I didn't need my parents to make that decision for me. But like I said, fortunately, I've got very understanding parents. So basically, I told them, I'm uprooting. I'm going to Canada. I'm going to come back. And there was a footnote. I may not come back. But my parents were good. They actually when we were there, everyone said, "We come and visit you," but only my parents and one other friend visited us.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So they were happy now that okay, we've got kids living abroad. We're gonna go there for the first time. It worked very, very
What an
well for me.
experience,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
just be careful about what your parents need from you. It may be complete reverse of what you think they need.
Sure. That's
But
so
anyway,
cool.
going back to electrophysiology, you asked me. Yeah, so it was a few of us. And I think one of the things that made a lot of Black people maybe not to venture into this, among other things, was the fear of leaving their parents behind, which is genuine,
It is.
but
Yeah.
is not be all and end all.
True.
Right.
I think it's good to highlight that. What would be your motivation now, to get more? So what's the balance between cardiologists and electrophysiologists in the country, in South Africa specifically?
I think we mentioned this in the previous podcast. I
Yes.
don't have the number, but probably there are about,
Just
I need to
estimates.
Google this. Probably there are like 300 cardiologists in the country with maybe about 18, 20 electrophysiologists. So there is still a huge discrepancy. As is, we don't have enough cardiologists. And obviously, we also concentrated in urban and semi-urban areas, right? For various reasons. That's another topic. So there's a lot of indigent people who don't have access to specialist physician, let alone cardiologists. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Has the journey become easier now than when you did it in 2005, did you say?
Yes, it has, because like I said, now I think there's like 2 or 3 electrophysiologists, Carla, since I went and embarked on this journey. So, and if you look at the increase in the number of electrophysiologists per se, is much higher than it was before 2005, 8.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it can only get better.
What
It's
are-
slow, but
Yeah.
better.
What are some of the things that are maybe like top 3 things that people should maybe keep in consideration or as an encouragement when they, want to join this journey? Because it sounds like we need more of them compared to almost 60 million South Africans versus about, in total, I think you said about 20 electrophysiologists in the country or so, around about there. So what are some things, one, what would be your encouragement to get more people in the field? Then when they're in it, what are some things that they should look out for that when you were going through the journey, you realized that, somebody else needs to know this?
Well, you have to love cardiology first, right? You have to love being a doctor with its challenges. But the good thing in South Africa, doctors earn well, both public and private, so you'll be able to take care of yourself and your family. So it's very, very important to talk about money. So they earn relatively well, so we're happy with that. The other one is, and which is something that you and I have spoken about, but we need to have a podcast on that, is gender and cardiology. So as well as single parents and cardiology. As an electrophysiologist, compare, for instance, our immediate partners, cardiologists and surgeons, it's hard as a single parent or as a woman to juggle between family responsibilities and being a surgeon or cardiologist, because you get called at odd hours. As a woman, getting called at 2 a.m, it might be less safe for you to drive it to. You're leaving your 6-month-old baby at home. Depends on the kind of a partner or support system you have. But if you can go through cardiology and become an electrophysiologist, you don't have to deal with emergencies. In the last 15 years, 15, I've been called back to the hospital maybe under 10 times. So it's great. So I think I've never been a woman. As a woman and a wife, it's going to be easier for you to do electrophysiology in terms of work-life balance. There are no emergencies. Your work really is Monday to Friday, 8 to 4, 8 to 5. You can tailor that to that. So you're home early. You can pick up your kids. You can drop your kids. I've been through that, yeah. So I think it's one of the most important things for me was the fact that I could spend time with my daughter without compromising on my love and my work for cardiology.
Sure. I think it sounds like there's a threshold to go through. And then after you've been through it on the other side, it's like, the land is greener. There's some sunshine that you get after the challenges. And then in the journey now of you becoming an electrophysiologist, what are some things or challenges or insights that maybe these specialists should look at, or things that you noted maybe just from your journey?
Challenges at work or prior to becoming an electrophysiologist? What do you mean?
The journey to become now an electrophysiologist. Now you are a cardiologist and you've decided, okay, I'm going to Cape Town, I'm taking on this journey. Are there anything, that's, to look out for? Or is it better now because times have changed?
It's better now. One, as junior doctors training, they know there's something called electrophysiologist. Just knowing its power, and it gives you some sort of leverage to decide this is what I want.
Yeah.
To funding, it's probably better. Speaking out of 10 now, because before you had to convince people that you want to do this, and people are like, do you really need people like you? Really? So I think funding might be easier now. We spoke about AFRA, African Heart Rhythm Society, to try also increase the number of electrophysiologists in the continent. Our current president, Felix Sogade, who is Nigerian-American, and Professor Mervat in Cairo, they have been pushing for African electrophysiologists, and they've done a great job. So we formed this group in 2019, and I'm very fond of it. So through those vehicles, I think it's easier now for people in the continent, not just South Africa, to be able to say, look, I want to be an electrophysiologist. I see these electrophysiologists. Now we've got people who can call friends in the US, in Canada, in UK, where you can say, you know what, Nancy Ndwanayam, can you just make it happen? Because you need contacts, right? Isn't it what we're told that if you went to Michael House or Hilton or St. Anne's, it's easier to have connections.
Yeah.
So through this group of Africa, we try to get a network of connections between Africa and the rest of the world, where we can pick up a call, not just writing an email to someone you don't know. Pick up a call and say, Felix, do you have a space? And Felix says, no, I don't have a space, but I'm going to talk to a friend of mine in New York, in Toronto, and see what we can do. So I think it's going to be better.
Sure. And then, given your journey and your background, what would be your encouragement to somebody who looks at the mountain in front of them and says, hey, I might not have the correct upbringing, I might not have, the correct resources to get to that mountain. And I think your journey is, in some ways, a perspective of that, that you are able to take the summit, nonetheless. But I think just even making the decision to do so can be challenging, because then it challenges your identity, it challenges the way you see yourself, the way you see life. What would be your encouragement to Intwane Semlazi?
Yeah.
That's like, what, Ngiyambona Dr. Vezi, and I know that it comes from where I come from, but I just feel paralyzed and I just look at that mountain and that summits that I'd like to take.
A couple of things there. One is that, let's be honest, some of the dreams have got expiration date. Sometimes you just have to let go of certain dreams because they're just not happening for you. I told you I wanted to be a greatest soccer player, and I could have surpassed Messi. I know it in my bones, but that dream had to come to an end. It was just insurmountable for me because of the circumstances then. So let's be honest, some of the things that you dream of, they're not going to happen, right? But the greatest thing is knowing what you want, willing to sacrifice for what you want, and align yourself with the people who have walked the path, right? So if someone is out there and feel that this is their dream and is not going to expire, get in touch with the people in the field rather than looking at them on TV or publications. Pick up a phone, walk in and say, I'm Sipo, I want to be a doctor. And I say, oh, okay. Why do you want to be a doctor? How can we help you? Wherever we can. So get in touch with the people in your field. of interest and see if that's what you really want.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But I'm being realistic that sometimes it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, you
But
are
it's
being
easier
realistic.
now.
Yeah.
It's easier now. And all you need to do is to get in touch with those people. That's why I've created the platform like Afra. We have now more brown and black electrophysiologists in the country.
We have a podcast. We're having conversations about
Yes,
it. It is a
yes,
form of
yeah,
educating. It's
yeah.
okay. I listen to what the doctor is saying, even if it's not electrophysiology, whether it's some form of specialty in health or even any
Yeah.
other field. I'd
Yeah.
like to think that even though we speak about the things we speak about on this podcast, no matter what you're doing, you can relate the stories that we are telling here to your field. You know?
Yeah. And I think it's not just a racial issue because, I mean, I'm sure there's a white kid out there who, because of the change of the fortunes of the country, you know, like, I can't do that. You know, we want those kids, irrespective of their racial background, gender, to say, Brian, Felix, how can I become an electrophysiologist? We want them all.
Yeah,
Because
that's good.
for me, as long as you serve this continent and more importantly, serve South Africa, I don't care how you look, your racial background, your gender.
When you lie
Where we
there
can,
on the
yeah,
bed,
yeah, yeah.
it's the
Because we
skill.
need white electrophysiologists, we need Indian, we need mixed people, we need Africans.
That's good.
All right. We need all of these people. It's just that we have to be realistic where we come from in this country. We need to try and support more black electrophysiologists to come to the forefront, cardiologists, chartered accountants, lawyers, you name it. We need more and more and more. And hopefully such platforms will help those people.
Sure. Dr. V, the first electrophysiologist of color in South Africa. Thank you for being an inspiration. I know you don't like to speak about this, and hence I came on screen today. But I think it's important, man. I think the fact that you don't like to speak about it shows that you're a leader and you care more about doing the work than about showcasing it. Hey, I'm the first. But for the sake of encouragement and for the sake of making sure that somebody else who's been in your shoes sees this and is able to say, and maybe even not somebody in your shoes, maybe somebody who's been doing this for 10 years and they've already given up, but now they can get a spark to say, you know what, I think I think, you know, there's a myriad of people that we can help in that regard. So thank you for...
Just before we close, I mean, I was in Cape Town last week and I got a call and I didn't know who this person is, and I can be very abrupt. It's one of my weaknesses, can be very abrupt. And like, who am I speaking with? And this guy said, well, I know you from Mlazi. I'm from Mlazi. When I met you, I was a GP, and then we spoke about the elective work that I do, how nice it is not to work every day at the time, particularly weekends. And he said, you know what? After about 10 years, I decided, you know what, let me try this. And he told me that he got cum laude, he just passed about a week or so ago.
Sure.
And now he's a sports scientist. So he did master's in sports medicine. So I was like, reaching out to people and talking, maybe it does work.
Yeah,
And
sure.
ngizwe bathi injobo enhle ithunyelwa ebandla. So I was very happy about this gentleman who reached out to me and said, look, whatever we spoke about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah, the spark, right? So, you know, I grew up with Tupac, Biggie, and all of those. And then I was just recently listening to Tupac and said, I'm not here to change the world, but my aim is to plant a seed, a sparkle, I'm paraphrasing, to that individual who will then make the world a better place.
Yeah.
That was Tupac. Spark a thought, an action, make someone believe they can do it.
Sure.
He felt that it wasn't for him to change the world, but he wanted, before he died, to say, look, I'd like to talk to you and say, man, I probably won't be able to do it, but you can do it.
And here we are today speaking about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want you to go and Google that song, Tupac. And like, my job is to let a spark start for you to change the world. not for me to do it.
I'm listening to it on my way home.
Because in life, sometimes you just have to accept that certain things you cannot do. Like I said, some dreams do expire, some don't. In pursuit of happiness, this guy felt that his dream was not so about expire, and that's based on a true story. In another movie, I think it's fiction, Acrimony? Is it Acrimony?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're like, dude, let go of your dream. And the guy will just persist and say, I'm not. So those are very encouraging stories where, you don't want to let go of your dream. But you should be smart enough to say, I've reached the threshold. Let me look elsewhere. So it's a fine line. And nobody should tell you that your dream should expire today. But you should also know deep down that, okay, I've done everything I can within my means. That, okay, this is not going to work for me. I mean, look at me. I'm a potential soccer player. And once again, like I told you, I think I need to sign out for Liverpool now because, clearly they need this great midfielder like me.
Hey, they definitely need.
Yeah, you see. But that dream expired for me. But I think I can rekindle it now. I'm sure I'll fit in right there at Liverpool.
At Liverpool, what a jab to the Liverpool supporters of this podcast. Dr. V, it's been good. Thank you for an amazing podcast. We covered quite a lot. I like the segues we had. I think even out of this topic, we have other topics that you've sparked to speak about. You have other topics that you sparked to speak about. So, we're excited. And if you're following this podcast, guys, it's available on Spotify. It's available on YouTube. So share it. We do share small snippets on social media. So just follow Dr. Brian Vezi and you'll definitely enjoy the content we're doing. All we're doing is that we just want to share stories, spark a spark, and hopefully it inspires you to do what you do best, eh?
Yeah. But I just want to say one more thing.
What? Speak to me.
Creative replay.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with Mawana. He's hopping. He had an injury, but the greatest thing when he told me how he got injured, it was one of the rarest moments where I felt happy that somebody got injured. Because guess what? He got injured going to the gym, taking care of himself, making that first start, the sparkle that I'm going to be a healthier version of a young man.
100%.
Because he's got about 70 years of life ahead of him.
Sure.
So if you take care of yourself, you can reach 100 on a wheelchair and with diapers, or you can reach 90 years and be as healthy as fuck. Obviously, one of the biggest guys that I want to look like, Lenny Kravitz. Have you seen that guy?
Lenny Kravitz, no.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I'm going to check him out. Check him out.
So as you leave today, I want you to Google Tupac's song.
Yes.
I want you to go and look at this guy, Lenny Kravitz.
That's some good assignments.
Yeah. Because as we get older, I'm 56 years old. I want to.
But you do look young.
Yeah. I want to continue to be healthy. Like I do drink, but I exercise. I drink responsibly. I think. So I still want to enjoy life. But I mean, when I heard that you got injured at or coming from the gym, I was so happy.
At least it happened in a good way.
So I'm really happy for you that you've taken that huge quantum leap.
No, it's a
to change your life.
I have to.
You already do an amazing job at what you do. But I'm glad that you also need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's a must. Thank you, Dr. V. It's always good.
Great.